Ahora estamos gozando hasta la mañana. Melodía, melodía. Escucha mi salsa buena, abre la ventana. Ay, escucha mi salsa ahora. Ahora estamos gozando hasta para bailar, para gozar, qué rico está. Escucha mi salsa buena. Ay, yo te traigo la salsa buena, es la verdad. Ahora estamos gozando hasta la mañana. Bueno, mira, escucha ahora. Si escucha mi salsa ahora, mi salsa para bailar, este ritmo tan sabroso, el ritmo para guarachar. Yo te canto con sentimiento y manana te lo voy a dar. Muévese con sabrosura, abre la ventana para respirar. Escucha mi salsa buena, abre la ventana. Ey, yo te traigo la salsa buena. Estamos gozando ahí nada más, que rico está. Escucha mi salsa buena, si yo te traigo mi salsa ahora. Estamos gozando ahí nada más. Bueno, escucha de nuevo, mira. Los tambores se están arrollando, la banda está en candela ya, todo el mundo está bailando. Ven, ven, mi gente, vamos a...
Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is Sunday, September 24th, almost 10 a.m. We're about to start in 2 minutes. This is Wanda, your host of Salty Coffee Podcast. How's everyone doing today? I hope you're doing good. I had a great time last night at a beautiful event with family and friends. It was pretty interesting. So I just want to say this, November 7th. Stay tuned. Anyway, for those of you who are new, welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Salty Coffee Podcast. And for those of you who are returning, thank you for coming back. Today's topic is going to be very interesting. We're going to review Waiting for Superman documentary that was published in 2010, actually on September 4th. So just a few announcements to start. This October 7th at 9 a.m. to 12:30, it is the Bronx District Attorney's Office is having their 6th annual Bronx 5K run, walk, and roll. So if you are in New York City, I please beg you to come join the Salty Coffee and the Salty Coffee Podcast family to this Bronx District Attorney's Office 6th annual Bronx 5K run, walk, or roll, whatever you wish to do. The event is on Saturday, October 7th, 2023, beginning at 9:30. The registration is on the link. For those of you who are on stereo, please note that this is also being broadcast live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch, and on our website at www.saltycoffeepodcast.com. The link for the walk, run, or roll is available on our website. So give me 1 second while I show the video of the event from last year.
3, 2, 1, 0. You are able to break free from terrible situations. You should be extremely proud of yourself. Always have that pride in yourself because you matter and you are important. And no matter how somebody else tries to make you feel, you can rise above that because you're better than that. You are amazing and always know that.
Este mensaje es para aquella persona.
This message is for those that are here listening to my story or know someone that's going through the same deep, dark tunnel.
No permitas nunca que alguien amarre tus manos, te vende tu boca.
Never allow anyone to tie your hands, to cover your mouth. No more silence. We're going to ask for and accept help. We're going to be indestructible warriors. We're going to unite the strength of justice because we have professionals supporting us.
Acompañada de la justicia, podemos gritar no más.
I survived.
and of relief. You have turned your pain into a purpose. And that is so important for those who feel that they're helpless and that they don't have any hope. You are there for them. You are an absolute inspiration to them, and you are inspiration to all of us.
Resources are available for everyone. Because remember, domestic violence has nothing to do with just a man and a woman. It could be your grandmother, could be a child. It's just anyone. And we need to be very aware of what's happening. And most importantly, finding solutions to help others to get to a safe place. Aside from the event that's happening on October 7th, Introduction to Canva online course has also started with the P2G networks. So Salty Coffee is participating in giving in step-by-step instructions on how to use the platform, but more important, how to um, build your brand. So the courses are now set up differently. I'm going to give you a small video of the conversation. So let me just put this here. It's very difficult to do this on stereo and on live on YouTube, Twitch. Hey Bex, how are you? And Facebook. So please bear with me. I'm a one woman thing here, but thank you for stopping by. I think this topic today, waiting for Superman, is going to be very helpful for those who have children and for those who actually went to the school and college.
Grand Rising, happy Sunday, salty coffee, yeah. Um, I wish that I could be out there on the 7th, but work.
That's
However,
fine.
if I am able to make it out there at some point in the day, I definitely will with no problem. I hope you're feeling good, feeling great. Hope you're having a beautiful start to your day. Yeah, I'm driving, so
Okay.
I did go over to Facebook and watch that visual. So I like how you got things put together, you know. It's great.
Thank you, Luna Goddess. Be safe out there. Drive safely, and thank you for leaving a message. And I hope that if you're not able to attend, that's fine. I will. Generally, what happens is when I attend the event, I actually collect the resources and then share it on the podcast. One of the resources that was important last year was the dating, what's considered consent, and how important that is for everyone, especially young ladies, and young men too. So you can hear conversations here on Stereo app, Facebook. You can see it on TikTok, where young people don't really talk about that. But there's a lot of inappropriate uh, things that happen. And going back to the introduction to Canva, so that the courses started already. So I'm hoping to have people now look at what the courses will involve. Generally, the last session, which was 8 weeks, it was gradual. This time around, I thought it was important to just have courses on Mondays where you can select the one that you think will be best for you. So on September 18th, we did the introduction to the platform and defining your brand. And I think that in itself is 3 hours, based on the last session. So introduction to your to the platform Canva, because a lot of people don't know what that is, but defining your brand, your colors, your logo, how to get your logo, how to get your logo into trademark, how to copyright your content. September 25th, which will be tomorrow, we will have the animation, sound, image, video, size, and content. So that's going to be tomorrow at 7 p.m. And again, to register for these courses, you have to go to the p2gnetworks.com website. When you click on, or you, I was going to say dial in, when you type in p2gnetworks.com, click on the, I'm going to share it on here. Give me 1 second. All right. Let's share it. Doo-doo-doo-doo. So when you get to p2gnetworks.com, you're going to click for classes box. I don't know if you see the mouse here. And then from there, you're going to view all of the courses available on P2G Networks. And then you're going to click on the bottom, uh, introduction to Canva. And they're this Monday. Unfortunately, the schedule is not visible on their page, but it will be on the Salty Coffee page. And right now, animation, sound, image, video, size, and content is a 3-hour course tomorrow at 7 p.m. online through Zoom. And I think it's important for people who are not sure, if they've never used Canva, but there's so many things that you can do now with your own content that I think it's important for this one particular class to be. I can do it in 3 hours, and you can do it in 3 hours as well. October 2nd, creating a basic flyer. So that's pretty much for beginners. So anyone who's never heard of Canva, who's who's not really good with computers, who would need extra help in links, exporting or importing, that would be the creating a basic flyer for you. And believe it or not, sometimes it will take more than 3 hours for someone who's just not really, um, I wouldn't say good, but just not knowledgeable about links and computers, specifically people of my age, 53, um, can keep up. And I think the courses will really just help you enhance what you're currently doing at work if you're working. And believe it or not, you could be a nurse, and Canva is very helpful because you can even create your own courses or your own schedule and make it look clear and organized. October 9th, creating a basic flyer with images and text. October 16th, creating a basic flyer with images, text, and animation. October 23rd, creating a basic flyer with image, text, animation, and sound. October 30th, scheduling, exporting, and importing. October 30th, scheduling, exporting, and importing is a very important course. So if you already know how to do the basics, which is image and clipping and searching, The scheduling, exporting, and importing is important because through Canva, you can do so much. And I'll be here to help you how to export, import, and save and protect your content. Promotional November 6th, it would be a promotional 1 minute video for your brand that you're going to create yourself. So that's going to be fun. I also want to announce oh, let me show the video. This is why it's difficult to do this on your own. But I'm going to show you a little video from the P2G networks that we recently conducted to promote the course. Today is about branding, like really focusing on who you are, what do you want to do, and how to collectively bring all of your social media to one idea, which is your brand. And then, the courses will, you can pick whichever you want, wherever level you feel that you are. I
Right.
think that's going to work best. And then you'll continue, it's up to the person to see where they are based on the first course. But I love I think it's the second to last,
Mm-hmm.
where it's, what does that say? Scheduling, exporting, and importing. I think that's the one that people can really utilize a lot. But again, everybody comes in at different levels. Beginner.
Exactly. So I want to share something with you guys. The only way to get this amazing class is to get on P2G Networks. Hit the class button, the class link, which is in the window that says classes, and sign up for whichever one of the platforms you would like, because all of Salty Coffee's programs are in there. She's going to show you not only how to bring out your brand, but we're going to show you how to create your brand, prepare your brand, and defend your brand. Let's get it popping. I'm really excited about this. See you soon. And don't forget, everything happens every week. And thank you so much for being on with us and doing what you do. Peace and love.
Absolutely. Anytime. So that's the P2G Networks course. Please, introduction to Canva. Make sure you visit p2gnetworks.com to register for any of the courses. If you have any questions or any concerns, you can send me an email through the Salty Coffee Podcast webpage. So I wanted to share with you also that Waiting for Superman has been a documentary that's been on my mind for a while, mostly because I wasn't sure. Okay. I wasn't sure what was going to happen with my own children. And when I saw the documentary, I was like, wow, this is insane to watch a documentary of how and why the educational system was founded in the United States. When you really know the true story, it really hurts. It hurts because, you know, especially when you're first generation and your parents are from another country and they leave the country to have your children live a better life, that is really, it really hurts because it removes you from something that's natural resources. You learn how to survive, you learn how to live a happy life, right? Even though with the bare minimum of air, water, and a house, right? And here is a dream that you can have this beautiful 10-bedroom home, which is unnecessary in my opinion, with a white picket fence, a car, a dog, a husband, and because in some countries, women were just born to be a subset of, to procreate, right? And clearly in the 70s and 80s, that changed a lot. So, Waiting for Superman is a documentary that I also found interesting that I could not find for free. When I clicked on it to watch it for free on a place that I'm subscribed to and it has it available, it says this is not available in your area. And then I started to think, okay, so is it my Bronx zip code? Was it that? Is it because I'm in New York? What is going on? So I had to pay for it. Fine, no problem. I paid the 14.99 for it, which was well worth it because I wanted to watch it again, and I also wanted to see where um where are we now from 2010 to 2013 with what they discovered and what they told people about the failing educational system, public system in the United States. And then in addition to that, what was what did we learn about how our children think, and are we better now for the small changes that were made, or are we still stuck in la la land? So after the documentary came out in 2010, I'm not going to go too deep into the documentary because I want people to watch it. I want people to be able to watch it or read about it because most the people who created or produced this documentary did it with the understanding that their children are affected. If you have children going to school, and let's say you're rich and they've been going to private school, once they go into college, they're going to be engaging and having to sit down with other children that are not wealthy and rich. So Davis Guggenheim was also a person who produced this documentary. More importantly, Jeffrey Canada, who's an educator in Harlem, he saw the issues in Harlem and wanted to make big changes because he couldn't believe how unions, lobbyists, politicians, even parents were not paying attention to what was really going on. And well, they were paying attention. It's just sad for to watch this documentary and to learn that as an adult now, I've been bamboozled that sending my children to college to get a degree in the career of their choice, it eventually is not even their choice. Because one of the things that I learned from the aftermath about the educational system, it's that the one thing that we're good at in the United States, our children are good at, is to socialize, which I think that changed through COVID. But in the documentary, it shows how we're I don't know what number we are now in the educational system. At one point, we were 35, which is bad. But when it came to self confidence, we were number one. So, what's more important to learn? Self confidence or true education, math, science, English, history? We have a message from Colorful Aura on the Stereo app. Give me 1 second.
Hey, 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 happy Sunday, Salty Coffee. Nice to see you around. Great rising.
Hello, Colorful Aura. How are you? Thank you for stopping by. And is that Miss Fletch? Hey Fletch, how are you? So going back to Waiting for Superman and the documentary and where are we now? I think my advice to other parents who follow salty coffee is to pay close attention. Pay close attention to ask yourself if you live in the Bronx and you have children and you're finding it very difficult to understand how to even register your child to school, there's a reason why it's difficult. So, my advice and suggestion is before you even have kids, find out what the educational system is all about first. Who's running it? Who's in charge? Why aren't parents involved? Why are the parents involved finding it difficult to find parents to engage, to be involved? Once you answer those questions, what happens later on is that you're able to, together as parents, fix it and make it better. I have to say, the the one reason I can say that it's doable is because even as a single parent, I still went to school part time, worked full time, and was still engaged in parent teachers administration, parent association, right? And what I learned from the school system with my oldest and the mistakes I made with the oldest, I try to fix it with my youngest. And that was not easy to do, especially when they're 4 years apart. That was a very difficult time. And myself going to school because I said, no, I have to go to college before my children end up going there. And that was just something because I needed to understand how the system worked. I also, even to apply for FAFSA, it's a difficult thing, right? The whole application form is complicated. Every year they make you forget your password, and then you have to remember the password, and then you have to remember the password to the password. It's like, give me a break, right? Well, we don't get breaks. So here in the United States, the educational system is still failing. Even, in my opinion, people who are going to private colleges as well. I I work for a university and and sometimes I wonder, I was like, okay, they may be great in math, science, and they may know everything the books that was given to them, they got it down packed. But to not know how to do the basic for what's required to you to live is sad. these children have been so conditioned to live such comfortable lifestyle. And yeah, that some of it is our fault. That the simplest thing as to tapping a door, oh, the door doesn't work. It's just not working. And we're like rushing over there to like help them to open this door. They never turn the handle. A simple thing as in, oh my God, there's a fire. What do I do? I don't know what to do. They call their parents. Even when the university has put in place fire drills. So what are we really teaching our kids at home? And what are we learning from them about their needs? And I'm not saying all of them. Some of them are quick wit, some of them are smart, very, very intelligent in the sense of getting things about life, how to get from point A to B. There's some kids that don't even know how to read a map. Why? It's 2023. Why don't kids know how to read a map? So you use the GPS, so that's what you're doing? I don't understand that. But it is what it is. And it is our obligation to make sure that, this whole thing, No Child Left Behind, that was um, enacted in when Bush was in office, I didn't quite understand what that meant at that time. And what happened in New York City after this No Child Left Behind is that students were able to go to any school of their choice. This documentary, Waiting for Superman, is important because it talks about the charter schools, the magnet schools, and public schools here in the United States. And one of the things that we need to pay attention to is what we're not being told. So, around this time in 2010, at least here in New York City, the schools were failing. I mean, horribly. And like they say in the documentary, students were just being passed because they were good kids, right? And if we look at the concept of the educational system, if we really go deep into it, the educational system was built to prepare workers. It was built to make sure that they knew how to wake up at early in the morning, get dressed, get ready, uniforms in most cases, go to school, sit down at a cubicle, sit down at a desk, and go to recess. Doesn't that look familiar to you to the workplace? It's very familiar. What you did in school is no different than what you're doing now at work. In For some people, their careers are different. If you're a doctor, it's different. Your nurse is different. You have a career, but the basic level of administration, entry level jobs, most of those resemble the school system. So that's pretty much what America is. It's a corporate, it's not a country. It's just a corporate entity where there's a group of people who are born and get a birth certificate, which is just your identification that you're part of the corporation. And that's it. You just work. There's a comment on Twitch. That was the worst thing ever. They promoted every kid regardless if they knew the material or not. It is a corporation for sure. And that was a comment on Twitch. So just for those of you who are walking in, hola Angelina. Hello, this is Axe. How are you? We are also live on Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter. For those who want to look at the visual parts, and for those of you who are not, who are deaf and cannot listen on stereo, but can also be participate through our YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch, where they can get the captions. Because I'm not sure if stereo has that available. So I'm gonna go over now a little bit about a decade later, an update on the students from the Waiting for Superman. So if you haven't seen the documentary, I really encourage you to watch it. And this is so important because I had a conversation yesterday with someone who's a parent. Her current child is 6 years old. And, she was telling me the difficulties that she's finding. And even on here on stereo, there was a couple of parents with younger children. My kids are 27 and 31 now. So I think I have a little bit of experience on how to help you to go through this system, right? But making sure that you also find resources on how to get your children to get tutoring and places that you can go for extra help if you need to. Um, in the documentary, let me just look for the question. Give me 1 second. Okay. So in this one, a decade later, they asked, why is it called Waiting for Superman? Why is the documentary called Waiting for Superman? It's called Waiting for Superman because Jeffrey Canada, who's an educator here in Harlem, he always watched Superman, the show, of course in black and white, and he did not. He was like, man, somebody's coming to save us. Superman is coming to save us. And then his mother kindly told him, he's not real, right? He's like, what do you mean he's not real? No, Superman is not real. And so he was kind of disappointed. So the concept of waiting for Superman on the educational system is we're we're still waiting for someone to save us. This is a long time, right? And the good thing about the documentary is that it shows you how the United States used to teach their students in public schools. Remember, the educational system here in the United States is not that old. It's we had farming still in the 70s. We still had that concept. And it wasn't until labor laws for children were implemented that the schools started working and the system to make sure that our students are, you know, working how to work the corporation. So that's how the title of Waiting for Superman started. In the documentary, all right, before I get to that part, we have three messages. Give me 1 second. Okay. Um, I'm afraid to play these two, but because I don't know you guys, but welcome Mia and a Nancy.
Ay, no sé si llegó un audio que mandé hace un ratito, pero por si acaso no ha llegado como el estéreo de esa magia, pues vuelvo y me repito. Muy buenas tardes, mi querida tita preciosa, Titi Coffee. Espero que estés teniendo un buen fin de semana. Te mando un beso y un fuerte abrazo y sepas que se te quiere muchísimo por aquí, por este lado de España y nada, saludos para los que vayan entrando a esta charla y para los que están. Así es que ya sabes, se te quiere muchísimo.
Thank you, Angelina. The one beautiful thing about Stereo app now is that it does the translation. So when someone sends a message in Spanish, we can read the translation. So thank you, Stereo app, for that. And she says, I don't know if my audio went through a little while ago, but just in case it hasn't arrived, as Stereo has that magic, well, I'll come back and I'll repeat myself. Good afternoon, my dear precious salty coffee. I hope you are having a good weekend. I'll send you big kisses and hugs and let you know that you are appreciated a lot here on this side of Spain and nothing. Okay, on this side of Spain. Greetings for those who are entering this talk and for those who are. So, you know, I love you very much. Thank you, Angelina. I appreciate that. And even though she's gone. All right. And Sion, I don't know. I hope you are aware that we are on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. So I'm assuming, don't like to assume, but I did not play the two messages from Mia and okay, let's see.
What I just walked in. You said we're looking for something to save us. I ain't looking for nobody for nothing. I really am the definition of stay to myself and mind my business. I don't call nobody for shit if it ain't about making money or I need to spend some money somewhere to fix something. Then I'm not talking to nobody. I don't talk to no family. I don't have any friends. I'm truly to myself and I mind my business. I don't get involved with nobody's shit. If it ain't my son, I don't give a fuck.
All right. Thank you for sharing that. So this conversation is about the educational system. So hopefully you are aware of what's happening in your son's school. If that's not a place where your son is going to and you're doing homeschooling, I'm hoping that you're able to provide to your son what's needed to survive and live, which is awesome. So I'm glad that you are able to do that and not need anyone. And that's fine. And I'm really glad to hear that. However, at least here in New York City, we have a lot of parents who are not desperately looking for Superman or what I'm looking at is how children interpret and their perspective of life. For example, you just left a message about how you don't need anyone and you don't want anyone to come and save you. You're on your own, and that's okay. But my question would be, what is the perception of your son? You know, what about your son's perspective? Is he waiting for Superman? Is he the one waiting for someone to come and save him? Because that's really what we need to look at moving forward. It's no longer about once you have children, nothing is about you, pretty much. Everything is about those kids. So Anthony is one of the kids in Waiting for Superman. And Waiting for Superman in 2010, American documentary film directed by Davis Guggenheim, and produced by Leslie Chilcott. The film explores the crisis of public education in the United States through interweaving stories of five families and educators. The film was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Documentary Feature. Anthony is from one of the families featured in the film. He is a student at a failing public school in Washington, D.C., and is desperate for better education. He enters a lottery for a chance to attend a charter school, but does not win. His story is one of hope and disappointment as he tries to navigate the failing public school system. And when you hear Anthony speak in the documentary, it's really sad because he ends up living with his grandmother because his father died, and his father died when they asked him from drugs. He was a drug addict. So here's this kid who is fatherless, actually motherless too. They didn't speak too much about that, but the grandmother who has him now is the mother of his father. So, and she's struggling. The grandmother has to work, hours, long hours, and it's just a sad story to see a kid who wants to do things and wants to learn, and you have teachers. I'm not saying all of them, but you have teachers who are clearly not interested in doing their job. One of the things, speaking of teachers, that was mentioned in the documentary is the rubber room. I think people should really search and find out and define the rubber room. So right now, this article says, "What is the rubber room waiting? What is the rubber room waiting for Superman?" New York City has so many rubber rooms that the film depicted teachers accused of wrongdoing arriving every day, sometimes for years doing nothing and drawing full salaries while their cases were being heard. So the rubber room is the room where if a teacher has been potentially suspended or were filed for disciplinary action, instead of suspending them with no pay, they had to come to work and sit in a room while their case is being investigated, and how they were going to um, fully determine the solution or find a remedy to the issue. And in the documentary, they do talk about the unions and how it was partly the government, right? And the Board of Education here in New York City were blaming unions for this, which partly could be true because there was a clause in the bargaining agreement that it was going to be very difficult for them to do that. But the reason why there was a teachers union to begin with was because they were not getting paid properly, which they still don't. But needless to say, I think this documentary brings light to I think people I'm not sure why it's not being reproduced to where we are now. Hopefully it will, but we'll see. We'll see what happens, and I'm hoping that people can go back and watch it, and we need to look at what we're doing to our children. Should they be in the lottery system involved to get disappointed, what are their thoughts? Are we having the conversation with them about, you know, what do you feel? What are you learning? Are you bored? What else can we do for you? Where would you like to go? Would you like to go to learn how to play an instrument? And then find the resources to begin with of what is available, and then encourage them to try to do those things. We cannot force our children to do anything, quite frankly. I learned that the hard way. But once they are determined to do what they want to do, believe it, they're going to do it. So I encourage all parents, I encourage teachers, people in the educational system to pay close attention. Don't wait until you put your children into school to try to figure it out. Learn now what's happening. Why is a 4-year private college cost so much money? And why are so many of our students being involved now into that system? And where are they now? What are they doing? What did they learn? Because that would be my question at the time. What did my student who went to an Ivy League school actually learn? Because in part, most of those students are legacy, so they don't have to pay a dime. They care less. So they're walking around, hey, hey. They can do the party, they can do the socializing, they can do all of that because they have that advantage. But there's a percentage that don't and have to work hard, not only to get the grades, but to pay. And it costs a lot of money to come to New York City. And some students are finding it like, is this really worth it though? Is it really going to pay off after I graduate within a year or two? It's a lot of money. So even learning how to read the bill is complicated, right? And of course, that's on purpose. But so according to this article, it has been nearly a decade since the release of Waiting for Superman, David Guggenheim's documentary. By the way, the Guggenheim Museum is the person who uh owns it. This David Guggenheim uh documentary about the failures of the American public education system. The film followed the stories of 5 students who across the country who were trying to escape failing schools by winning a lottery to attend a charter school. Guggenheim revisited some of the students from the film in a short follow-up documentary released earlier this year. But it also raises questions about what happens to the kids who don't win the lottery. In the original film, Guggenheim argues that the lottery is a cruel way to choose which children get a good education and which don't. I think it is very cruel to have a lottery system within a system that's public. The follow up shows that the system is even more complicated than that. The students featured in the original film all came from low income families and were attending schools that were failing to provide them with a quality education. The lottery was their only chance to attend a better school. But the follow up shows that the lottery is not the only way to get into a good charter school. Some of the students featured in the update were able to transfer to a better school after their parent advocated for them. Others found schools that were a good fit for them outside of the lottery system. The update also shows that the students who did not attend charter school through the lottery system were not all successful. What did I just do? One student featured in the original film was expelled from her charter school for fighting. Another student struggled in school and eventually dropped out. The follow up documentary is a reminder that there is no simple solution to the problems facing the American public education system. The students featured in the film are just a few of the millions of kids who are struggling in schools that are not meeting their needs. The original film ends with a call to action urging Americans to demand change for their leaders. The follow up shows that change is possible, but is slow and incremental. The fight for a better education for all kids is far from over. And I totally agree. I totally agree that we need to do better for our children. So I again highly encourage you to watch this documentary where you can learn how the education system started to begin with and why, and where are we now a decade later after the documentary came out, and what can we do to work with not only the unions but our officials, our policymakers, our legislators, our local level legislators, because there are people out there doing their thing and lobbying for what's best for them. So we need to make sure that things are not just that it's really having conversations with our children about what they're learning and does it apply and is it going to apply. How is it that we're in 2023 and we still have to recruit people from other countries to do the work for today, especially in technology?
So you waiting on Jesus Christ?
Okay. No, this is a documentary about this educational system. We're not talking about religion. We're not talking about man waiting for a man. We're talking about a documentary.
Yeah, I believe in the coming future for the young kids. Um, I believe they're going to be actually governed, teach through the lesson plans of artificial intelligence, um, through their new agenda, new textbooks, through artificial intelligence in every way to surpass human intelligence. So I believe that will be the coming future for the education system for kids. That's my preference. So this patent program, um, like I said, is patented by these programmers to teach our new kids.
Okay. Well, thank you. More importantly, I encourage parents to not only engage in conferences within the school system, but if they are going to do homeschooling, that they are aware of the future labor workforce. And more importantly, the survival skills of every day. What do you do? How do you create your own electricity? Um, how do you create your own light? How do you grow your own food? So that's pretty much the academy that I'm looking forward to looking at for the future of our kids. Um, I recently observed that every kid in the subway in New York City has a tablet in their hand, as little as maybe 7 months, 8 months, and you see their little fingers doing their thing. So kids are intelligent; they're very smart. So we need to just be mindful of what they're doing. I know I went to a event where a kid was learning blocks, and I asked the parent, "Do you know that children can make money online by doing blocks?" And they're like, "Oh, I didn't know." And so that's my message for today. Are you involved to the point where you know what your children are learning? Are you participating in school activities to make sure that you know what the children are learning and what they're doing? And if you work for the educational system as a teacher, as an administrator, what is your outreach looks like? What is your community based outreach looks like? I live by a school and I don't even see kids anymore. I don't know what's going on, but I don't know if the school is closed, but I don't see any community activity at all. And that's concerning.
Like I said, AI could do whatever you mentioned. These programmers, they doing it. So, mind you, you got Tesla say he could create army bots. You got Tesla's, he ready to create any type of um, robot for entertainment, education, workforce, based on Tesla already got bots ready to put on the market. Uh, Neuralinks and all. So I'm just letting you know, robots, artificial intelligence. That's what's really going to take place. Artificial wombs. We don't even need. They don't even need a woman to bring forth babies. That they've been releasing babies who grow out of artificial womb tank. This is not no misinformation. You can look it up. Like I say, technology is taking over.
Yeah. So what are they going to do? Kill us all? I understand that technology may take over, but I've been to certain spaces where you would still need to work on how to control that. So there's a whole new workforce to control the AI. There has to be some cyber security to make sure that copyrights are not being violated, trademarks are not being violated. So even though you say AI is going to take over, fine, no problem. So the idea is, if let's say that's going to be the case, so then why are we sending our children to school? Why are we even homeschooling them? What are we going to teach them then? At the end of the day, my point is we're still far behind. We still need doctors. We will still need nurses. We Unless they're planning to eliminate all of us at once, what are we going to do? So we still need people to teach. We still need people to police, run for legislation. I mean, it's not going to happen right away. But I hear what you're saying. But I've been to many universities where students are learning the global economy and how that's going to work. How are they going to manage that? And while there may not be janitorial work, custodial work, those type of physical jobs, driving and stuff like that, the blue collar, if you will, or even brown collar, military, those may not be available, but you still need someone to run it at the end of the day to protect it, to protect the humans, right? Um, but we'll see what happens. Again, this talk is to encourage you to watch the documentary, to just get a sense of what happened 10 years ago in the discovery, not so much a discovery because we know that the schools, public schools specifically, were failing, including public schools in wealthy areas as well. Because what good is it for you to isolate the wealthy, right? Provide everything for the wealthy and then not for the low income. And then when they at some point meet at a private institution, which is happening now a lot, they don't know each other and they're, even though they read all of this information in books, they're still not understanding. They're like, well, what do you mean you lived in poverty? What do you mean you didn't have enough money to buy food? Yeah, this is what a wealthy kid would ask a kid from the Bronx. And they're dorming together at college.
Yeah, I homeschool my kids because I learned that kids was only they only get 8 hours a day of education, as far as physical education, lunch, and so forth. So there's not enough time for one-on-one with the teacher. So I homeschool my kids, and I have raised by the leading and the guidance of the Father, Jesus Christ, Holy Spirit, to raise my kids. So I had raised four by myself. So all praise to God and Jesus Christ, Holy Spirit. So yeah, I was totally involved with PTA and so forth. Yeah, but homeschooling along with the teacher's lesson plan, um, I work hand in hand. But I didn't. They wasn't staying home, but they actually was in charter schools and so forth. They was A students. They every 9 weeks, so forth. Yeah, that's why they putting because this is no misinformation I'm sharing. They putting blue light cities, smart cities, to control brain waves and so forth. And you can look it up. Blue light cities, smart cities. So according to the scientists, once you walk in that blue light, they can manipulate your thoughts. They could telekinesis through a push of a button, um, and control the workforce and so forth. So this is no misinformation. All right. Everything is rolled out in different phases. So everything I'm telling you, you can look it up, you can fact check it, and do your homework like I did, and I'm sharing it. It's no misinformation. So, so I mean, you could always go back to school and re-educate yourself, because the job market for a programmer to maintain the artificial intelligence, as far as like cleaning the hardware and changing different software and updates and stuff like that. So I recommend re-educating and getting some type of degree or any type of credentials on your belt as a programmer or creating chat boxes right now. So or how to up keep the chatbots and all kind of artificial intelligence jobs markets. So get a tech education credential on your belt as far as a physical, because we going into a Daniel chapter 12, wisdom shall increase. I know you don't want to hear it, but that's just part of me.
Well, thank you, Keen and Priest, for sharing your thoughts. Again, we are on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. And those thoughts of the commenters on Stereo app are not necessarily those of the Salty Coffee podcast or Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch or Stereo. Thank you so much for sharing your information. And hopefully, I'll be able to participate as a listener in one of your talks with this information. And thank you for sharing that. We will look into it. So, I wanted to thank those on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch to let you know that it is still Sunday, September 24th, And I will go ahead now and open it up for any comments or questions on the YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook side. And for those of you on stereo, thank you for stopping by. It has been a pleasure. Next Sunday, the topic is still open, but I think I'm going to talk a little bit about Hispanic heritage. What does that mean? Who invented it? Why it was? When did it start? So just a little bit about, how some people feel about it, where we at. So don't forget to visit us on www.saltycoffeepodcast.com for all of the resources in New York City that's available to our residents and our visitors and all of our podcasts. Don't forget the Introduction to Canva course is now open. Registration is now open. You can find the open registration on p2gnetworks.com. If you want to learn how to participate in cryptocurrency, blockchain, digital real estate, digital collection, please make sure you visit p2gnetworks.com or come on over on stereo on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 8 a.m. Eastern Time for Breakfast with the Thomases. Have a beautiful day, everyone. Enjoy on stereo. I will still be on YouTube and Facebook and Twitch to give you a little bit more information of all of the events that are occurring.
Y ya no sabes lo que pasa. El primer verso, papi. Lo que manda aquí la clave. Este ritmo guaguanco. Esto es lo que existe. Y también chamaco. Nadie nos resiste. Aquí estamos bravos. La chema tan brava. Esta vida es brava. Y yo también soy bravo. Por eso lo que repica son los cueros. Aquí lo que suena fuego. Mueve la abuela el pescadero. Hasta lo mueve el aduanero. Norte a sur, lo vemos viendo. La orilla del mar, nos ve sonriendo. Y yo sé lo que tenemos no es para juego. Y esto divino. Por eso lo que hacemos quitar tu mano con ritmo letales.
You are able to break free from terrible situations. You should be extremely proud of yourself. Always have that pride in yourself because you matter and you are important. And no matter how somebody else tries to make you feel, you can find the one that puts your best in that. You are amazing and always know that.
Este mensaje es para aquella persona.
This message is for those that are here listening to my story or know someone that's going through the same deep, dark tunnel.
No permitas nunca que alguien amarre tus manos, te vende tu boca.
Never allow anyone to tie your hands, to cover your mouth. No more silence. We're going to ask for and accept help. We're going to be indestructible warriors. We're going to unite the strength of justice because we have professionals supporting us.
Acompañada de la justicia, podemos gritar no más.
I survived. It's okay. purpose and that they don't have any hope. You are there for them. You are an absolute inspiration to them, and you are inspiration to all of us.
Today is about branding, like
Mm,
really focusing on who you are, what do you want to do, and how to collectively bring all of your social media to one idea, which is your brand. And then, the courses will, you can pick whichever you want, wherever level you feel that you are. I
right.
think that's going to work best. And then you'll continue, it's up to the person to see where they are based on the first course. Um, but I love I think it's the second to last,
Hmm.
where it's, what does that say? Scheduling, exporting, and importing. I think that's the one that people can really utilize a lot. But again, everybody comes in at different levels. Beginner.
Exactly. So I want to share something with you guys. The only way to get this amazing class is to get on P2G Networks. Hit the class button, the class link, which is in the window that says classes, and sign up for whichever one of the platforms you would like, because all of Salty Coffee's programs are in there. She's going to show you not only how to bring out your brand, but we're going to show you how to create your brand, prepare your brand, and defend your brand. Let's get it popping. I'm really excited about this. See you soon. And don't forget, everything happens every week. And thank you so much for being on with us and doing what you do. Peace and love.
Absolutely. Anytime.
Had enough. So stay out of my inbox talking about what you can do.
I love you all. Have a great day and see you next week. Sundays at 10. Self care Sundays. This is Salty Coffee.